How does a multi-million-dollar building collapse? What happens when skyscrapers melt, cars or bridges sway like they're about to break? These aren't isolated incidents. They're massive mistakes that have reshaped cities and cost lives. Could they have been prevented? Today, we dive into the 15 biggest construction disasters that left a lasting mark on history. From fatal design flaws to rushed projects, these errors are both shocking and avoidable. Curious to know what went wrong and why? Let's break down these monumental failures. Number 15, Teton Dam. Failure, 1976. The story of the Teton Dam is a haunting example of how a single oversight in planning and engineering can lead to unimaginable devastation. Built in the 1970s in southeastern Idaho, the dam was part of a grand federal project to control water for irrigation, flood management, and hydroelectric power. At first glance, everything seemed in order. The dam, stretching 305 feet tall, was a colossal structure, built using an earthen design. Engineers and politicians alike saw it as a symbol of progress, a testament to mankind's ability to control the forces of nature. But beneath the surface, literally, there was trouble. The land on which the Teton Dam was constructed had geological weaknesses, porous volcanic rock and unstable soil that should have raised red flags. These were not secret problems. Engineers voiced their concerns during the dam's construction. Yet those warnings were ignored. To compound the issue, there were mistakes in the dam's design. Poor compaction of the dam's earthen material allowed water to seep into the foundation. On June 5, 1976, that oversight became a catastrophe. The dam, unable to handle the mounting pressure, began to crack. Engineers on site noticed the leaks but didn't grasp the seriousness of the situation until it was too late. Water poured through the cracks, and within hours, the dam burst wide open, unleashing millions of cubic feet of water into the Teton River Canyon. The result was a torrent of destruction. Entire towns were swept away in the flood's path. Farms were submerged, homes destroyed, and lives lost. In total, 11 people died, and 13,000 cattle drowned in the aftermath. Financial losses skyrocketed, with damages totaling nearly $2 billion. But the tragedy was more than just economic. It left deep scars on the affected communities, many of which never fully recovered. This disaster teaches an unforgettable lesson. When nature is involved, no amount of human engineering can afford to be careless. Overlooking geological surveys, ignoring expert warnings, and underestimating the force of water proved to be a fatal combination in the case of the Teton Dam. Even today, this failure is studied as a cautionary tale in engineering classes around the world. Number 14, Sampoong department store collapse, 1995. The collapse of the Sampoong department store in Seoul, South Korea is a heart-wrenching example of greed, arrogance, and disregard for human life. In 1987, the building was originally planned as an apartment complex, but its developers saw an opportunity for more profit and decided to transform it into a luxury department store. This change wasn't a minor tweak. It involved gutting the building's original plans and making major structural modifications that ignored critical safety standards. The developers removed support columns to make space for escalators and added an unauthorized fifth floor, even after the construction company they hired refused to carry out the unsafe modifications. Instead of listening to their engineers, they fired the company and hired another willing to follow their dangerous vision. This was a pivotal mistake. Those support columns were essential to maintaining the integrity of the entire building. Without them, the structure's strength was severely compromised. In April 1995, signs of disaster began to emerge. Cracks appeared in the ceiling of the fifth floor, the very same floor that was added against all advice. Rather than shutting down the entire building to address the issue, the owners simply closed the problematic floor and continued business as usual. Tens of thousands of people visited the store every day. completely unaware of the danger looming above them. Then on June 29, 1995, tragedy struck. Without warning, the south wing of the department store collapsed, trapping thousands of people inside. Rescue efforts began immediately, but the devastation was overwhelming. Over 500 people were killed, and 1,500 others were injured, making it one of the deadliest building collapses in history. The scene was apocalyptic, with entire floors pancaked on top of one another, leaving no room for escape. The cause of the collapse was clear: greed and negligence. The desire to maximize profits by cutting corners on safety led directly to the deaths of hundreds of innocent people. In the aftermath, South Korea underwent a massive overhaul of its construction regulations to prevent such a tragedy from ever happening again. But for the families of those who perished, the damage had already been done. The Sampoong department store collapse stands as a powerful reminder that human life must always take priority over profit. When safety is ignored, the consequences can be devastating, as seen in this heartbreaking incident. Number 13, Walkie-Talkie Building, 2014. In the heart of London's skyline, the Walkie-Talkie Building stands out for its unusual shape. Designed to be an iconic skyscraper, it became famous for something else entirely: melting cars. Yes, you heard that right. The building's concave, glass-covered facade created a giant focused reflection of sunlight onto the streets below, turning sections of the sidewalk into a literal frying pan. The curved design acted as a massive magnifying glass. Every day for a couple of hours, the sunlight reflecting off the building reached scorching temperatures. At its peak, it could melt car parts, warp storefronts, and even burn passers-by. Poland, local business owners started calling it the Walkie-Scorchy. It didn't take long for the designers and city officials to realize something had to be done. The fix? A costly series of sunshades installed over the building's glass surface to diffuse the heat and prevent the reflections from wreaking havoc. This post-construction adjustment cost over £10 million and took months to complete. How did a design oversight like this happen? In part, it was due to the sheer ambition of the building's architects. They wanted something modern and bold, but they failed to consider the very real effects of natural light. It's an expensive reminder that even the smallest detail can lead to huge consequences in construction. Number 12, the Aon Center marble cladding, 1974. The Aon Center in Chicago was once the world's tallest marble-clad building. It was a symbol of elegance and luxury, its white marble facade shimmering in the sunlight. But beneath its gleaming exterior lay a critical flaw. The marble was too thin and fragile for the city's brutal weather. Soon after construction, the marble slabs began to crack. Large chunks of the facade started falling off, crashing dangerously to the ground below. The building was a ticking time bomb, and it was clear something needed to be done before someone got seriously hurt. In the 1990s, engineers made the decision to replace the entire marble exterior with granite, a much sturdier, longer-lasting material. This retrofit came with a hefty price tag, $80 million. For a building designed to be a marvel of engineering, this was a huge and embarrassing mistake. The lesson here is that aesthetics should never come at the cost of safety and durability. Sure, the Aon Center looked beautiful in its marble armor, but what good is beauty if it's falling apart? It's a reminder that even the most visually stunning designs must be built to last. Number 11, Ray and Maria Stata Center, 2004. The Ray and Maria Stata Center at MIT is a work of art, designed by renowned architect Frank Gehry. It's an architectural marvel with sharp angles, twisting curves, and a futuristic aesthetic. But like many works of art, it wasn't exactly practical. The problems began almost as soon as the building was completed. The dramatic angles caused drainage issues, leading to leaks throughout the building. Icicles formed on the roof. During winter, falling dangerously to the ground. Cracks appeared in the walls, and water damage began spreading across the structure. MIT ended up suing Gehry, claiming negligence in the design. The lawsuit brought attention to the real-world flaws in what was supposed to be a cutting-edge building. The repairs cost MIT over $1.5 million, but the damage to the building's reputation was far more significant. In the end, the Stata Center stands as a reminder that even the most innovative designs must adhere to the fundamentals of structural integrity. Without a solid foundation and functional design, even the most beautiful buildings will eventually crumble. Number 10, Citic Tower foundation issues. In China, skyscrapers are often a symbol of national pride and progress. The Citic Tower, with its stunning design and towering height, was meant to be a statement of China's growth and power. But before it could become an icon, it made headlines for a different reason. It started sinking. The foundation of the tower was improperly designed, leading to uneven settling and tilting. This wasn't just a cosmetic issue. It was a serious safety hazard that could have led to a catastrophic collapse. To fix the problem, engineers had to conduct extensive repairs before the building even opened to the public, costing millions and delaying the project significantly. Foundations are the bedrock of any construction project. If they're not done right, no matter how beautiful or innovative the building is, it's doomed to fail. The Citic Tower's sinking foundation serves as a stark reminder of this fact. Number 9. Lotus Riverside Apartments collapse, 2009. Shanghai's Lotus Riverside Apartments were meant to be a haven for residents, but instead, they became the site of one of the most shocking building failures in recent history. In 2009, one of the 13-story buildings in the complex toppled over, completely intact, as if someone had pushed it over like a domino. The cause? A combination of poor construction practices and heavy rainfall. The building's foundation had been weakened by the rain, and without the proper structural support, it simply fell over. The most shocking part? The building didn't collapse. It just tipped over, still in one piece. Miraculously, no one was inside the building at the time, so there were no casualties. But the incident raised serious questions about the safety of construction practices in rapidly developing cities like Shanghai. How many other buildings were built on shaky ground? The Lotus Riverside collapse is a perfect example of what can happen when construction is rushed and quality control is neglected. It's a chilling reminder that even the smallest oversight can have huge consequences. Number 8, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Everyone knows it, but its very existence serves as a constant reminder that even the most beautiful structures can be doomed from the start if the foundation isn't right. Number 7, Vdara Hotel death ray, 2010. Las Vegas is known for its dazzling hotels, but none quite so unique and unintentionally dangerous as the Vdara Hotel. The hotel's curved glass facade was designed to create a stunning aesthetic, but what the architects didn't foresee was how it would interact with the sun. The building became infamous for creating a concentrated beam of sunlight, nicknamed the death ray, that scorched guests lounging by the pool. The reflected sunlight was so intense that it reached temperatures capable of burning hair and skin, melting plastic cups, and even singeing furniture. Guests described it as feeling like a magnifying glass had been turned on them. This wasn't just a minor inconvenience. It was a serious design flaw. To fix the problem, the hotel installed special sunshades on the windows to diffuse the light. But the damage to the hotel's reputation was already done, and the Vdara death ray became one of the most infamous architectural mishaps in recent history. Number 6, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, collapse, 1940, galloping Gertie. That's what people called the Tacoma Narrows Bridge, and for good reason. When it opened in 1940, it was one of the longest suspension bridges in the world. But within months, it became clear that something was seriously wrong. In high winds, the bridge would sway and twist violently, as if it were galloping along the water below. The engineers had underestimated the power of aerodynamic forces. The bridge's design wasn't equipped to handle the way the wind funneled through the narrow canyon. On November 7, 1940, In winds of just 40 miles per hour, the bridge began to oscillate wildly. Just hours later, it tore itself apart and collapsed into the water below. Remarkably, no one was killed in the disaster, but it became one of the most well-known engineering failures of all time. The collapse of Galloping Gertie taught engineers a valuable lesson about the importance of considering wind dynamics in bridge design. Today, it remains a textbook example of how natural forces can have devastating effects on man-made structures. Number 5. Transbay Transit Center cracks, 2018. San Francisco's Transbay Transit Center was meant to be a modern marvel, a transportation hub that would connect the city and serve as a focal point for its future. But shortly after opening, engineers discovered something alarming: cracks in the steel beams supporting the building. The cracks appeared in 2 of the main support beams, prompting an immediate closure of the entire facility. It wasn't just an inconvenience, it was a potentially deadly oversight. If 4 of those beams had failed, the building could have collapsed, leading to unimaginable devastation. The transit center remained closed for months while repairs were made, costing the city millions of dollars and causing massive disruptions for commuters. How did something like this happen in a brand new building? It's a reminder that no matter how well designed or well built something seems, even the smallest mistake can lead to catastrophic consequences. Number 4. Kansas City Hyatt Walkway collapse, 1981. The Kansas City Hyatt Regency was a place of celebration in the early 1980s. Its grand atrium featured suspended walkways where guests could overlook the ballroom below. But on July 17, 1981, during a crowded dance party, disaster struck. One of the walkways, packed with people, collapsed onto the dance floor below. The weight of the falling structure brought down the second walkway as well, crushing hundreds of people beneath the rubble. In total, 114 people were killed and over 200 were injured, making it one of the deadliest structural failures in U.S. history. The cause? A last-minute design change that doubled the load on the walkway's support rods. Engineers failed to account for the additional weight, and the walkways were simply not strong enough to hold it. The Hyatt disaster remains a tragic example of how even the smallest design changes can have deadly consequences if not properly tested and reviewed. Number 3. Bangkok's new international airport, 2006. When Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi Airport opened in 2006, it was hailed as a state-of-the-art transportation hub that would put Thailand on the map. But just months after opening, cracks began appearing in the runways and taxiways. Planes were forced to divert to other airports, and the airport's reputation took a serious hit. The problem? Rushed construction. In their eagerness to complete the project on time, contractors cut corners and didn't allow enough time for the concrete to properly cure. As a mere result, the runways couldn't handle the weight of the planes landing and taking off. The repairs cost millions of dollars and caused significant delays, but the damage to the airport's reputation was already done. It's a classic example of how rushing a project to meet deadlines can lead to long-term problems and higher costs in the end. Number 2. Berlin Brandenburg Airport, 2020. Berlin's Brandenburg Airport became infamous long before it ever opened. Construction on the airport began in 2006, with an expected opening date in 2011. But delays, budget, overruns, and safety concerns pushed the opening back nearly a decade. The list of problems was staggering. Faulty fire safety systems, inadequate wiring, and poor planning all contributed to the delays. By the time the airport finally opened in 2020, it was billions of euros over budget and years behind schedule. The story of Berlin Brandenburg Airport is a case study in how poor planning and mismanagement can turn a simple project into a never-ending disaster. It's a reminder that, no matter how ambitious a project may be, it's only as good as the planning behind it. Number 1. L'Ambiance Plaza collapse, 1987. L'Ambiance Plaza was supposed to be a shining new residential building in Bridgeport, Connecticut. but instead it became the site of one of the deadliest construction accidents in U.S. history. On April 23, 1987, the entire building collapsed during construction, killing 28 workers. The cause of the collapse was a failure in the lift slab construction technique being used to build the tower. The method, which involved lifting large concrete slabs into place, was not properly supported, and the slabs collapsed one after another like a stack of dominoes. The tragedy of L'Ambiance Plaza is a sobering reminder that innovative construction techniques must be thoroughly tested and understood before being used on large-scale projects. Cutting-edge technology can be exciting, but when safety is compromised, the results can be catastrophic. These stories of construction disasters show just how fragile even the most ambitious projects can be when mistakes are made. From collapsing bridges to sinking towers, each one offers a valuable lesson in the importance of planning, oversight, and execution. So, what do you think? Should architects and engineers be held more accountable for these kinds of failures? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from around the world. And make sure to hit that bell icon so you never miss an update.